Imagine the finest military machine the ancient world had ever known. A Roman legion, not of faceless soldiers, but of 10,000 individual men, fathers and sons, veterans and recruits, their armor glinting under the relentless North African sun, marching in perfect, disciplined order deep into the vast, unforgiving sea of sand and rock that is the Sahara Desert. A force so powerful it could subdue nations, and then nothing. They vanish. No glorious last stand celebrated in marble. No mass grave uncovered by modern archaeologists. Just an echoing millennia-old silence that has baffled historians ever since. This is the enduring mystery of the Lost Legion of Africa. A story that begins not with a whisper, but with a deafening crash of empires clashing. Our tale catapults us back to the year 19 BC, to the zenith of Rome's first emperor, Augustus, a man determined to secure the flanks of his burgeoning empire, and to the restless, wealthy kingdom of Numidia, a client state grown too ambitious under its ruler, Tacfarinas, a former Roman auxiliary soldier who knew the legion's tactics intimately, and now led a devastating guerrilla war against them. The Roman response was swift and brutal, led by the proconsul Publius Cornelius Dolabella, who finally cornered Tacfarinas and his army in a remote, desolate region, crushing the rebellion and securing the North African coast for Rome. But this victory, celebrated in the Forum, is merely the prelude to our deeper mystery. For in the aftermath of this campaign, one of the legions under the Roman command, the legendary 9th Legion, the Hispana, a unit already steeped in battle glory from the conquest of Spain to the savage wars in Gaul, was tasked with a final punitive expedition deep into the Garamantian territory, the land of the fierce desert dwellers south of the Roman province, to ensure no future rebellion could brew in those sun-baked hills. This is where the historical record, once so clear, begins to fray and fade into legend. For the 9th Legion, or a significant detachment of it, marched south from the coast, their standards pointing towards the heart of the desert. And they marched beyond the edge of the known world, beyond the last Roman outpost, beyond the last map, and into the domain of myth. Picture them, these 10,000 souls, the creak of their leather, the clank of their lorica segmentata, the dust rising in a golden plume visible for miles, a serpent of steel and discipline slithering into a landscape that defied order, a place of shifting dunes, searing days, and freezing nights, where water was more precious than gold, and every oasis could be an ambush. They were searching for the Garamantes, not for battle, but for a demonstration of sheer overwhelming force, a show of standard and sword meant to cow the desert tribes into permanent submission, to show them the long arm of Rome could reach anywhere, but the desert had its own laws, and it did not care for the pride of empires. Then the communications ceased. The expected return date came and went. No scouts returned. No smoke signals were seen on the horizon. The garrison at Leptis Magna would have scanned the southern emptiness, day after day, their anxiety curdling into dread, until the terrifying truth became inescapable. An entire legion, one of the core units of the Roman army, a cornerstone of imperial power, had been utterly and completely erased from the face of the earth. Back in Rome, the official story, what little of it was ever recorded, was likely one of tragic but honorable annihilation. A tale spun to placate the masses and protect the reputation of the generals. Perhaps they were ambushed in a narrow pass, overwhelmed by a countless horde of Garamantian chariots, and died to a man, their eagle standard captured and melted down for trinkets, their bones left to bleach in the sun, a monument to the limits of even Roman power. But this neat, tragic ending is unsatisfying, for where is the evidence? Where is the battlefield? Where are the 10,000 bodies, the shattered swords, the broken pilums? A battle of that scale, the destruction of a legion, leaves an archaeological signature, a carnage of metal and bone that should have been found by now. And this glaring lack of physical proof is what fuels the more tantalizing, more controversial theory. What if the legion was not destroyed, but simply chose to disappear? Consider their situation. Deep in hostile territory, perhaps led by a treacherous guide, their waterskins empty, their morale shattered by the sun and the sand, their commander dead from fever or a stray arrow. The soldiers, many of whom were not Italians but conscripts from Gaul or Thrace, with no great love for Rome, faced a simple, brutal choice: march on and die for an emperor who saw them as expendable pawns, or surrender and assimilate. The Garamantes, a sophisticated civilization that built underground cities and complex irrigation systems, were not mere savages. They were a people who could have seen the value in absorbing 10,000 trained soldiers, engineers, and blacksmiths. Imagine Roman legionaries, their red cloaks traded for desert robes, teaching the Garamantes advanced metallurgy and siegecraft. Their Latin tongues slowly adopting the Berber language, their sons and daughters growing up as children of the Sahara, never knowing the 7 hills of Rome. This theory suggests the lost legion did not die out, but was swallowed by the culture it was sent to conquer, their DNA spreading through the populations of the Fezzan and beyond, their story becoming a whispered legend around campfires for generations. The evidence, while circumstantial, is haunting. Later, Roman historians like Tacitus mention the legion's disappearance only in vague, almost embarrassed terms, and the 9th Hispana itself was later struck from the Roman army lists, its name becoming a ghost in the military archives. Even more compelling are the strange archaeological anomalies far to the south, in West Africa, where tantalizing rumors persist of light-skinned, bearded tribes with knowledge of ironworking that seem to appear out of nowhere, or the peculiar Romanesque architectural foundations found in places they never should have been, suggesting a diaspora of knowledge carried by refugees or migrants from a lost Roman outpost. The most cinematic possibility of all involves a desperate last-ditch journey, a fleeing remnant of the legion turning not back north, but continuing south and west, following ancient trans-Saharan trade routes known to the Garamantes, becoming traders and mercenaries in a world utterly alien to them, their story dissolving from history into the stuff of local folklore, perhaps even inspiring the legend of a pale-skinned kingdom lost in the depths of the continent. The truth is, we may never know their final fate, and that is the true power of this mystery, for it forces us to confront the fragility of even the mightiest empires and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of the unknown. The lost legion of Africa stands as a permanent question mark etched into the sands of time, a reminder that the map of the ancient world still has its blank spaces, not of geography, but of destiny, spaces where 10,000 men could step out of the light of history and into the shadow of myth, leaving behind only the wind sighing through the dunes, a sound that might just be the ghost of a forgotten Latin marching song or the whisper of a story that is not yet over.